Have you ever come across those viral videos where a baby hears their parents for the first time after receiving a cochlear implant, and you thought, "Oh, that's so adorable"? However, what if I told you that the backstory leading up to that moment is not as heartwarming as it seems? In such videos, doctors place an electronic device near a deaf person's ear, sending auditory signals to the brain, simulating hearing. The intention behind cochlear implants is to enable deaf individuals to fully participate in the hearing-dominated world. However, many deaf advocates argue that this process attempts to fix something that isn't broken. They urge us to acknowledge that deaf people already possess a rich linguistic culture and a community of sign language users that is just as valid as any spoken language. Instead of focusing on correcting signing, they believe it deserves more recognition and attention. I am Dr. Erica Brozovsky, and welcome to Other Words. I recently interviewed Roberta Cordano, the president of Gallaudet University, to discuss the misconceptions surrounding sign language. One of the biggest misunderstandings is the significance and power of American Sign Language, ASL, or sign language in general. It involves visual learning and constitutes a crucial aspect of brain development. ASL is just as important and valid as English, yet many in the healthcare profession fail to recognize this. Language is not limited to the shapes made by our mouths when speaking or the sounds we hear or read. Gestures and facial expressions are integral parts of language. In fact, every human being has around 208 gestures regardless of their location in the world. Unfortunately, gesturing has been discouraged and suppressed over time, leading to a loss of its efficiency. Sign languages utilize hand movements, head motions, and facial expressions rather than sounds. They possess the same structural complexities as spoken languages, with diverse vocabulary, regional variations, slang, and grammatical rules. The speed, direction, and position of a sign can alter its meaning, providing a vibrant and diverse linguistic landscape akin to spoken languages. There are over 150 distinct sign languages used worldwide, separate from the spoken languages in the same regions. Interestingly, the only individuals still actively creating new languages are deaf people. While spoken languages have remained static for centuries, sign languages continue to evolve and adapt to the communication needs of deaf communities. Sign language is fascinating, right? So, you might wonder why more of us don't use it. The answer lies in a painful history. Throughout history, sign languages faced suppression and were not recognized as legitimate means of communication. As a result, deaf individuals endured a long struggle for recognition and acceptance of their linguistic culture. However, thanks to the efforts of deaf communities, sign languages are now being celebrated and embraced as essential and dynamic forms of expression. In conclusion, the world of sign language is a captivating realm of communication, and its significance should not be overlooked or underestimated. Deaf people's linguistic culture and the sign languages they create exemplify the beauty of human communication diversity. Until the early 1800s, the majority of deaf individuals born in the United States lacked access to educational opportunities that catered to their specific needs. However, in 1816, a collaboration between French educators and American advocates resulted in the establishment of a deaf school. At this school, students could learn and communicate using sign language, which marked a significant breakthrough. For the first time, deaf students not only had access to education but, more importantly, to a deaf community where they could interact and sign with each other. The French Sign Language brought by these educators began to merge with the signs that students had created in their homes and communities, eventually giving rise to American Sign Language, ASL. Despite the positive impact of this new model of education, there were dissenting opinions. Notably, figures like Alexander Graham Bell, yes, the same inventor, argued that deaf people, including his own deaf mother and wife, should strive to integrate into the mainstream speaking culture. In 1880, Bell and 164 other educators, with only one of them being deaf, convened at a conference to devise recommendations for deaf education in the U.S. and Europe. Unfortunately, the outcome of this conference proved detrimental to the deaf community. It led to the promotion of oralism, a system in which deaf children were encouraged to rely on lip reading and imitating the mouth shapes of hearing individuals. This move had disastrous consequences, causing a near extinction of sign language instruction in schools for almost a century until the 1960s. The repercussions of the Milan Conference in 1880 were so severe that it took until 2013 for an official apology to be issued to the deaf community. Even then, many individuals who had experienced the ban on sign language, like the speaker's mother, only saw the apology in their lifetime. The exclusionary approach of trying to make deaf individuals blend in with the hearing world, often through lip reading, severely limited their access to language, hindering brain development and cognitive processes. Research has shown that the critical period for language exposure, fluency, and brain development occurs between birth and age 5. Children who acquire language late, regardless of it being spoken or signed, are less likely to utilize the important language centers of the brain, leading to inefficiencies in processing language and grammar. Deaf or hard of hearing children face a high risk of language delay and deprivation due to limited access to information in stress-free learning environments. For instance, the speaker recalls how, as the only deaf person in the class, they had to continuously work to understand the spoken instruction, analyze its meaning, and be prepared to respond in real time, a taxing and exhausting process. Despite technological advancements like hearing aids and cochlear implants, not all deaf individuals benefit from these devices. Many recipients of cochlear implants still struggle to grasp spoken language at a level comparable to that of a hearing person. While some have succeeded with oral communication, it is essential to recognize that this approach doesn't suit everyone. Rather than presenting a false choice between sign language and spoken language, both forms of communication are valuable and beneficial. Embracing sign language from birth provides significant cognitive advantages, akin to the benefits observed in bilingual individuals regarding memory and attention. The brain's engagement with visual and spatial processes when using sign language complements auditory processes, enhancing abstract thinking and pattern recognition. For centuries, society's misconceptions led people to believe that deaf individuals would miss out on language and culture if they learned sign language. However, the opposite is true. Non-signers miss out on the richness of an entire dimension of language and the vibrant deaf community that utilizes it. Deaf individuals possess a unique perspective and offer invaluable experiences that deserve appreciation and inclusion. The speaker urges the recognition of sign language's importance, challenging the notion of trying to fix deaf individuals through technological means. Instead, they advocate for embracing both sign language and spoken language, providing children with the resources and support they need to thrive. Acknowledging the contributions of deaf individuals enriches our collective understanding and fosters more inclusive and diverse ways of thinking and communicating. In conclusion, it is crucial to appreciate the significance of sign language and its impact on deaf individuals and their communities. Embracing sign language from an early age has profound cognitive benefits, and deaf individuals' experiences offer invaluable insights into the beauty of visual language and communication. By acknowledging and supporting sign language, we can create a more inclusive and diverse society that values every individual's unique contributions.